everybody out there. Gee whiz, it's really great to have you along on the show. Got a different backdrop. You notice that? Huh? Where do you think you might be? Could be a lot of places on a window like that, looking out a window like that, huh? Well, the first song I did was From a Distance, and this song really became the anthem during the Gulf War, along with Tie a Yellow Ribbon around that old oak tree. You remember that one? Bette Midler did this song, and about 1991, I believe it was, when she got a Grammy for it. I mean, the song got a Grammy. It was wonderful. Anyway, Bette Midler, wonderful tune, From a Distance. So when I looked at the backdrop, and when I plan my shows, I look at the backdrop and I think, what songs would I be thinking of as I'm looking at this backdrop? So these are some of the songs. I had quite a few, and I had to cut half of them, you know. But and then the next song I did was Mountain Greenery, and this is from around the 30s, 1937, something like that, maybe. Written by Rodgers and Hart. Yeah, they did a lot of songs like Manhattan, Blue Moon. Yeah, Richard Rodgers and Lawrence Hart. Anyway, so that's Mountain Greenery. Okay. Well, those two songs, first one was Morning Side of the Mountain. Now this song actually was recorded by Tommy Edwards in 1951. Johnny Ray did it in 1952. But actually the one that got a great hit was 1974, and it was for Donnie and Marie Osmond. Yeah, Morning Side of the Mountain. The next song is called The Folks Who Live on the Hill. So I was thinking about who lived in that house that you're seeing in the backdrop. I'm thinking folks who live on the hill. This song was written by Jerome Kern and Oscar Hammerstein II. Well, it's a wonderful song, and I'm trying to think. It came out in the 30s, but Peggy Lee also had a recording on this that did well. In fact, when everybody heard that song back then, they thought of Peggy Lee. Sinatra also had a nice recording on it. Anyway, Folks Who Live on the Hill, and it was written for a movie called High, Wide, and Handsome. I don't think you remember that movie, neither do I. Well, here we go. Let's go on now. That song is called Full on the Hill, and it was written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney. The Beatles did that song, yes, 1967. The arrangement that I was doing is similar to Sergio Mendes, because when he recorded the song, he did it with a little Latin tempo. And that's the way I like to play it, so I did it that way. All right. But anyway, thank you, Beatles, for that wonderful song, John Lennon and Paul McCartney. That tune is a song that Gogi Grant had a big hit on. Suddenly There's a Valley. You see the kind of like a valley in this backdrop to. Okay. Well, the next two songs, well, you know them. Red River Valley, a folk song and a cowboy music standard. That was written in the 1890s, yes. And it was called by many names. Let's say they called it the Cowboy Love Song. Some areas of our country called it the Bright Sherman Valley, the Bright Laurel Valley, the Bright Mohawk Valley. Anyway, depending on where you lived. Down in the Valley. Down in the Valley was written in 1925, and it was written by a man who was put in jail for moonshining. Yeah, the Birmingham jail, right? So anyway, that song is also known as the Birmingham jail, Down in the Valley. First song. Sound familiar? Song is Hushabye Mountain. And if you happen to see the movie Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, 1968, Dick Van Dyke sang that to his children as a lullaby. Yeah. Hushabye Mountain. It's got a beautiful feel to it. And I love to play minor chords for musicians out there. You know, minor chords, there's just something about them. Well, the next song is I Climbed the Highest Mountain. Would you know who did this song? Ricky Nelson. Ricky Nelson, 1959. But then also the Ink Spots had done it. The Platters had done it. Yeah. Dean Martin has done that song. And they all sang it differently. Some sang it a slower ballad. Some sang it with a little bit more up-tempo. Depended how they felt about the song, right? Okay, let's continue on. Well, you know both of those songs, right? First one was from 1972, Rocky Mountain High, written by John Denver, right? Many of his songs he co-wrote, but they put his name right on top because, well, he was a wonderful writer, but a lot of times he had co-writers with him, you know. The next one is When It's Springtime in the Rockies. Now, I remember this because I remember, I didn't see it in 1937, 39, something like that. But Gene Autry was in a movie called Springtime in the Rockies, and he sang it in that movie. So that's the one that I remember. Also, the Sons of the Pioneers, they recorded that song. And that movie came out, and the song was used in both films. 1937, but 1942 also was another film, Springtime in the Rockies. So anyway, good song. But I remember Gene Autry doing that. Right? You know that song, don't you? The first one was Sound of Music. Of course. Of course. Came out on Broadway 1959, The Sound of Music. And then it came 1965, they had the musical, the film, I mean. And then, of course, Climb Every Mountain. Climb Every Mountain, we love it. Okay, let's head on. Well, folks, that song, I'm going to talk right now. The folk song, my friends, is The Trail of the Lonesome Pine, yeah. It was a 1937 film that it was in, and that starred Laurel and Hardy, right? The song was written in 1913. Now, the reason I am going to change a little format here is because I opened my broadcast to the audience. You don't hear them, but they're out there. And this is my first time I'm doing this. Maybe folks will come along. I tell them, read a book, bring your knitting, whatever, just come and relax and watch the show. But there is a couple here that I have to say that I had chose the song, didn't know that they would be here. So Jim and Janet Ranson, they're over there, and it just so happened I had already planned this song. But anyway, they happen to like West Virginia. It's a wonderful song, also written by John Denver. I played it a little differently than he sang it, right? But I can do that, right? Play it the way I want to. Well, folks, this is my last song. And as I was looking at this backdrop, I thought, wow, somewhere out there, something I've probably never seen before. I love this song, Somewhere Out There. It was from the movie American Tail. It was about a mouse, animated movie, 1986. Linda Ronstadt and James Ingrid had a wonderful, wonderful recording of this. And the song is Somewhere Out There. Well, that's my broadcast for today. And next week, I've got an interesting one, and it's about time. Time. Clocks and time. So I hope you'll join me next week. Thank you so much for coming. You know, I love you, and it means a lot to me. Bye-bye.